Now, there's obviously a lot of garbage and nonsense in the internet, and I applaud that. When that isn't there, I worry, because that means someone's deciding what's there. I like the freedom of it. But what's on there is unbelievable resources, and also has enabled a worldwide fellowship that is borderless. You can fellowship with not only no geographic borders, but no denominational borders, by the way. I've been a Christian for 60 years, but in the last few years, I feel more called. I see a clearer vision than I've ever seen during those 60 years. I believe that God is putting new wine in new skins. And, there was a Back to the Bible movement in the 70s, and I think that was the answer for the 70s and 80s. That pattern, that style, that approach, I think has had its day in many respects. And if America is going along the path that I believe it is, and I've made my career in strategic planning, as I watch what I think is coming, I think there's going to be I think anyone that thinks the next 10, 20, 30 months is going to be smooth sailing is underinformed. The kind of trauma that's coming on our culture is more serious financially, culturally, in many which ways. That's good news. That may sound strange, but it is. Because that's good news for the kingdom. People who are complacent and apathetic today, within a matter of months, not years, are going to be desperately looking for answers. And what you and I need to do is to prepare ourselves to provide those answers. And one of the things that, from all of this, thank you, all of us need to go forth from here with some kind of personal, and it's different I wouldn't be presumptuous to even guess what it might be, but every one of us in this room have been called to some specific ministry. And our prayer intensively should be to understand what God would have of us day to day going forward in terms of the challenges these dismal circumstances are going to provide for us. It can be the most exciting time of our lifetime from a kingdom point of view.
Yes.
If we've done our homework. So I thought I'd just throw that out there, sir.
No, that's good. Thank you. And that's what we ought to keep our eyes on. I've been personally disgusted, and I'm being very kind in that word right now, in the company of several hundred of my friends. I could use more volatile words, but I've been personally disgusted with the emphasis that so many people in the church in America for so many years has put on somehow saving America. That we think Jesus is somehow at the right hand of the Father wrapped up in the American flag. That has bothered me for a long, long time. If there's one flag wrapped around anybody in heaven, it's the flag of Israel, not the American flag, number one. And the billions and billions of dollars that were raised. I'll never forget when George W. Bush won the previous election, just 4 years ago. I was out in California and I was reading all the papers and everything like that, and all of it was the moral Christians finally did the right thing. We finally got involved in politics. We finally took our stand, and look what we did. We've put this fine Christian man in there, and everybody was talking about the demise of the Democrats and the liberals and how, the Christian right had finally come up and took their place. And I came back and I said, you wait. 4 years from now, we think they're dead in the sand? I said, we didn't save nothing. We bought a little more time, but they're going to come back and take their country back. And they're going to throw out that Bible-thumping, gun-toting liar. I mean, that's what the world says about our president, which is horrific. But the point is, we know the truth. The reality is our hope is not in politics. And I don't want anything that I'm saying led to believe I want you to vote for this person or this guy or that guy. Listen, our hope is in the coming of Jesus Christ, and we're not here to save America. We're here to save souls as long as we can before He comes. And nobody loves their country more than me. Nobody's more patriotic than me. And if we were attacked, I'd stand right beside you right now with guns and try to protect our nation. But I got news for you. We are not citizens. Randall said it. Others have said it. We're not citizens of this world. We're citizens of another world. And our hope is not down here. And we really should, when we see all these things happening, instead of saying, oh my God, America's going to die, all this kind of thing. No, we ought to be rejoicing and looking for the opportunities that God is giving us in this moment to seize for the gospel. Does that make sense to anybody? Does that resonate? Does that resonate in any other crazy person's heart and mind like it does in mine? All right, we're fast approaching the close. Bill, I know you've got something you want to say.
Well, you asked the question, how is this going to pan out as far as Israel is concerned?
Yes.
It was said earlier that we are accountable to know this book. I agree. It was said earlier that there are some things written in this book that aren't understood until these things are about to happen, at the end. I agree with that. And so I wanted to say that before I make this point. If we process all that's been shared, what Joe was sharing with us from this book that these people have written, that these, political elites are reading and embracing. If we process the very real possibility that America, as you and I knew it, is gone or is going. And if we can identify, if in our lifetime as Americans, that means something totally different than what it used to mean. And as a believer in this book, I can't identify with the culture that I am now living in. And that, I don't know how everyone else feels, but that's exactly how I feel. I look around and I see what's going on in this country, and to a large degree, I feel like a stranger. Anybody else with me on that one?
If you want to request the International Prophecy Conference, the prophetic event of the year, it's now ready, and I'll send it to you when you request it. The entire conference on audio CD for your gift of $139, or the entire conference on DVD for your gift of $199. Every message by every speaker, plus the entire 3-hour convocation of which you're seeing brief highlights of in today's broadcast. Everything in this beautifully packaged, complete conference set. When you call or write, simply request the Prophecy Conference set on CD or DVD, and I'll send it to you. But let me say it again. The entire conference on audio CD for your gift of $139, or the entire conference on DVD for your gift of $199. Everything in this beautifully packaged, complete conference set. When you call or write, simply request the Prophecy Conference set on CD or DVD, the prophetic event of the year.
I look around and I see what's going on in this country, and to a large degree, I feel like a stranger. Anybody else with me on that one? All right. And if this trend continues, and I believe it will, and if, as Chuck brought out, if there does come a day when the attacks against the body are not really coming from the politicians and all these other people, but from the denominations, and I agree with that. I agree with that. Then who are you going to be able to identify with? If the bridegroom delays his coming, who are we going to be able to identify with? And here is my point. If I embrace this book, and I live and I strive to live according to what is written in this book, and I hold it dear to my heart, and I want to apply its principles to my life. If you think they don't like us now, just wait. And as this culture and every other culture on the face of the earth continues to degenerate, ladies and gentlemen, even as we are trying to ascend the holy hill, because you have to ascend to go up to the Father, all right? The disparity between the two will grow greater and greater with each passing day. And so as our country degenerates and our culture devolves into something that's totally foreign to us, and if what we have always understood ceases for all practical purposes to exist, then who and what are you going to be able to identify with? And here is my point in this. It's interesting to me that Osama bin Laden, Muqtada al-Sadr, and all these people so quickly group Israel and U.S. together. And I don't mean the U.S. I mean U.S.
Us.
Us.
Yeah.
How is it they so quickly group us together? They call us the people of the book. Because, ladies and gentlemen, there is only one seed. There's only one seed of Abraham. Here's what I'm getting at. This country, for all practical purposes, is divided down the middle. Half and half. And what did the Messiah say? A house divided against itself cannot stand. He didn't say it might stand if everybody prays real hard. He said a house divided against itself cannot stand. And so don't you think that the enemies of this culture have figured out that all it's going to take is the right amount of pressure at that one sensitive point, and the house of cards will just implode from within? What then? And so I'm coming to this. Some things are not to be understood until the end. I agree with that. And we have the responsibility to know what this book has told us. I agree with that. And here's what it's all leading to. There's only going to be one kingdom that we can identify with.